Streaming news leader. This is THV 11 Morning News at 7 on THV 11 Plus.
Good morning and happy Friday. Thanks so much for joining us here on THV 11 Plus as we get you ready for the weekend and the holidays. Simone Thomas here in for Tracy this morning. Karen and Ashley also off today, but you're starting off your Friday very busy because you've already got a traffic alert going on North Little Rock.
Double duty with traffic and weather. We got an accident, well, two accidents kind of right next to each other. So if you are in North Little Rock looking to travel on I-40 this morning, maybe consider an alternate route. I'll show you the map to give you a clearer perspective. It does look like traffic is slowly starting to pick up, but earlier it was almost at a standstill. This is near the mile 161 marker. We had one incident, looks like coming on that on-ramp to get onto the highway, but then another one shortly or not too far down the road from that. So crews are out here right now trying to clear the scene, but traffic is slowed. It looks like it's up to medium now. Before the break, when we were on linear TV, it was orange with that slow, but this is just all east of the L'Oreal factory. Again, this is in North Little Rock on I-40 westbound. Otherwise, across central Arkansas this morning, no other major delays. As traffic evolves through the rest of the morning, I'll be sure to have more updates, but here's some of your drive times. Everything is in the green right now. Coming from Conway, less than 25-minute commute. Bidden and Cabot, 19-minute commute. So hopefully no other accidents to report, but you can be sure to find those updates as things change. We're going to shift gears to your forecast because as you get ready to head out the door this morning, you will want to bundle up. Very cold out there, right at the freezing mark in the capital city and in Pine Bluff. Hot Springs, Arkadelphia below freezing, 30 degrees, 25 in Clinton and in Searcy. The good news is as we continue through the day, we're going to warm up to near average temperatures, looking to peak in the lower and middle 50s this afternoon. A few passing clouds today, but leaning mainly sunny, and temperatures are really going to depend on where you are. So the farther northeast you are, maybe a few degrees cooler. If you're southwest, you could even flirt with 60 degrees, but your 7-day outlook is coming up in a bit, so make sure you stick around.
Breaking news overnight, police say they have ended the manhunt tied to last weekend's deadly mass shooting at Brown University. The suspected gunman found dead inside a New Hampshire storage unit in an apparent suicide. Now, investigators believe he also murdered an MIT professor earlier this week. Also breaking overnight, the White House pausing the program that allowed the suspected shooter to enter the U.S. Jared Hill has all the details.
Ending a multi-state murder manhunt. Overnight, authorities closed in on a storage facility in Salem, New Hampshire.
We got him.
The suspected Brown University gunman and suspected killer of an MIT professor found inside a storage unit, dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
He was using a phone that was obfuscating ability to track it. He was sophisticated in hiding his tracks.
The alleged shooter, identified as Claudio Manuel Neves Valente, a 48-year-old Portuguese national living in the U.S. legally. Brown says he was a physics PhD student at the university between 2000 and 2003 before he dropped out. School officials say he likely took classes in the same building where he allegedly opened fire last Saturday, killing 2 students and injuring 9 others. Police say he's also believed to have killed MIT professor Nuno Loureiro Monday night. Both were in the same school program back in their native Portugal.
This was always going to be an investigation where something was going to break it open.
The key to breaking the case, according to a police affidavit, was interviewing an anonymous Reddit poster. 3 days ago, the person described seeing the suspect with a gray Nissan Sentra. Investigators tracked the car to a rental company in Boston where the suspect used his real name on the application. Authorities also discovered the suspect's storage unit in Salem, where his body was found.
Our work is not done. There are many questions that need to be answered.
Back in Providence,
there's a sense of relief in the community.
Steps toward healing. The Trump administration overnight said the U.S. is pausing the diversity visa lottery program through which suspected mass shooter Claudio Neves Valente was allowed to stay in the U.S. and get his green card in 2017. The program launched in the 90s. It offers about 50,000 visas per year. Diversity in this context pertains to the people from countries with relatively low rates of U.S. immigration, Portugal, one of over a dozen European nations on that list. In order to qualify for a diversity visa, applicants need to have at least a high school education or 2 years of work experience in a field that requires training. They're also required to undergo vetting and an interview before getting the visa. President Trump has been critical of this program for years, arguing it could pose a security risk and isn't focused enough on merit like employment-based visas. More than a decade before Neves Valente got a diversity visa, he was admitted to the U.S. on a student visa to attend grad school at Brown. That's according to the police affidavit. The future of the diversity visa lottery program is unclear because it can't completely be scrapped by the executive branch since it was created by Congress. Jared Hill, CBS News.
On Capitol Hill, President Trump signed an executive order Thursday to speed up reclassifying marijuana from a Schedule I drug like heroin to Schedule III. Now, possession and recreational use remain federally illegal, but the change could expand medical research. The rescheduling process still has to move through federal agencies, including the DEA, so it could still take months before any change is final. Also, this comes as the board of D.C.'s Kennedy Center voted unanimously to add Trump's name to its title, a move already reflected online, though Congress must approve it officially. In February, Trump fired half the board, replacing Democrats with his allies, among them his chief of staff and the second lady. Also, JFK's grandnephew, former Congressman Joe Kennedy, weighing in.
Surprised by it. I was honored by it.
It is a living legacy to a man who gave his life for our country. And one would hope that any American, let alone a president, would understand that.
Meanwhile, the White House highlights the economy, reporting inflation has cooled to 2.7%. Developing news this morning, Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin is ordering Joseph Schwartz to report to the Arkansas Department of Corrections. Schwartz, a former owner of several Arkansas nursing homes, was pardoned last month by President Trump after pleading guilty in April to a $38 million scheme in which prosecutors say he withheld employee taxes but never paid the IRS. Under his plea deal, Schwartz was required to serve 12 months in prison but completed only 90 days before the pardon and has now been ordered to report by the 29th. A decision out of Washington could soon raise health insurance costs for some Arkansans. Republicans have passed a health care bill that does not extend Affordable Care Act subsidies, meaning those tax credits are set to expire at the end of this year. Experts say for nearly 80,000 Arkansans who buy coverage through the ACA marketplace, that could mean higher monthly premiums, with the biggest increases hitting families earning just over 400% of the federal poverty level. State officials say the impact will vary by income and plan.
Most people with health insurance through their employer, this is not going to have an impact. These subsidies are only found on the health insurance exchange.
This is the 400% level right here. If you make $1 more than that, you don't get tax credits, right? So that could be the difference between a $200 plan and a $2,000 plan.
Insurance experts urge families to review their numbers right now. The January 1st enrollment deadline is already passed, so some Arkansans may face a coverage gap, but acting now can restore coverage by February 1st. TSA agents here in Arkansas say they are prepared for the tens of thousands of travelers they will screen during this holiday season. But as you prepare for your holiday travel through the airport, TSA wants to make all passengers aware of a few new changes. THV 11's Tamer Knight has the very latest updates. Tamer?
Well, Hayden, long lines, crowded terminals, and thousands of travelers are heading out for the holidays. However, TSA says being prepared before you leave home can make all the difference at the airport. One of the biggest things passengers need to be aware of this season is the Real ID enforcement. If you don't have a Real ID or an acceptable form of identification, you can expect delays at the airport due to extra security screening. As of right now, travelers can still fly without a Real ID. However, starting February 1st, TSA will offer a new ID verification option.
If you don't have a Real ID or acceptable form of ID, passengers will have the option to pay a $45 fee to have their identity verified through TSA's modernized alternative identity verification process. That's called Confirm ID.
This process can be done online before heading to the airport and is valid for 10 days. TSA says a passport is still an acceptable form of identification, and travelers can visit tsa.gov for a full list of options, ID options, and prohibited items. Now, lastly, if you or someone you're traveling with has a disability or has difficulty when traveling, you can contact TSA Cares and an officer will be assigned to help you through the screening process. TSA recommends calling the hotline at least 72 hours in advance, and you can find a number and how to contact TSA Cares also at tsa.gov. For THV 11 News, I'm Tamer Knight.
All right, Tamer, thank you. On the roads, holiday travel is getting a break at the pump. Arkansas drivers now paying an average of $2.44 a gallon, the lowest statewide price since March. It's down 9 cents from last week and about 20 cents less than this time last year. AAA says strong fuel supplies and low crude oil prices helping keep gas affordable as millions hit the highways for the holidays. Well, let's send it back over to Simone with a check of that slowdown on Interstate 40 over in North Little Rock. How we doing, Simone?
It does look like the traffic is starting to pick back up. We do still have authorities on the scene that looks like clearing what became that second accident in the vicinity. So if you were just following along, you're confused, this is I-40 westbound just east of the L'Oreal factory in North Little Rock. It was originally one accident coming off of that on-ramp. Then there was a second accident. Traffic was almost at a standstill for a little while. Traffic has picked up a bit, but you still see authorities, looks like off on that right shoulder, trying to clear what was that second incident. So looks like the traffic speeds are pretty good, pretty back to normal, but still watch out for that if you're in the vicinity across central Arkansas. No other major delays that I see this morning. Some of those problem areas that we usually deal with, I-30 near Alexander, things are moving smoothly here as well. I-430, things are moving smoothly, and on 630 things look like they're moving smoothly. So a nice morning out there, and that translates with our forecast. Here's a look at our sunrise, a gorgeous shot on this Friday morning. The sun officially over the horizon, marking the start of our day. Temperatures, though, are a bit chilly out there. We are right at the freezing mark in the capital city. Low dew points, though, which is good. It doesn't feel too bad out there. Does look like you'll need to bundle up though as you start the day. As we continue through the day, looking to warm up to the lower and middle 50s, a few passing clouds through the afternoon, but definitely looking to see a lot of sunshine. It's going to be a nice one out there. And across the state, temperatures will vary a little bit by location. If you're farther northeast, likely going to see more of those upper 40s and lower 50s, lower to middle 50s in central Arkansas, and then in southwestern Arkansas, upper 50s and low 60s expected. Things are going to be even warmer for your Christmas, believe it or not. Full details are coming up in that 7-day outlook, so make sure you stick around.
Still ahead this morning, this week, new reports on inflation and jobs give a snapshot of the U.S. economy. Analysts say the data shows where the country stands on prices, wages, and employment. It is 7:13. As you mentioned, Simone, what a beautiful sunrise we have. Looks like Pride Rock from The Lion King. Everything we show you this morning, everything the light touches, we're going to show you on THV 11 Morning News. What a beautiful start to the Friday. We got much more coming up.